Hello and welcome to Rando Rob, the show where I show off random things that are part of my collection. Over the years, I've collected hundreds, if not thousands, of bits of nostalgia, memorabilia, toys, odds and ends. And for the most part, I'm the only person that enjoys them. So on Rando Rob, I get to pick one of these items and show them off to you, my faithful listeners. So if you're listening to this episode, you know that it is available on my normal podcast feed. You can find all my podcasts on podcast.robohara.com. And if you prefer the video version in which you can actually see the items that I am sharing from my Rando Rob collection, you can always find these videos on youtube.com/Rob O'Hara. In fact, there's a little playlist called Rando Rob. I believe this is episode 109. So far I have shared 109 different things from my collection, and I am worried that I'm going to start running out around the number 10,000. So there's lots of things in the collection to show off. Now, today's item is something that has to do with food, with a kitchen utensil, kitchenware, and it's something that I bought from Goodwill. Now, I know that I told this story on a previous episode of Rando Rob, that I don't like buying things that might be used as a food container or might touch food from Goodwill. And the reason, if you remember that conversation, is because I went through a list of things that could possibly have happened, and when I needed to come up with an example of those things for my wife to justify this strange weird fixation I have, I said, well, someone could have pooped on it, and or specifically pooped in it. Because I was looking at that time at a C3PO cup, and she said, do you have a habit of pooping in cups? And I said, no, it's not me we're talking about. It's not what I would do. It's just these things. And again, I mentioned on that episode, I know that when you go to a restaurant and you drink from a mug that someone else 10 minutes ago was drinking from that same mug. When the silverware, the plates, those of all are things that were just in someone else's mouth, the silverware. So, but I try not to think of those. But also I know they've been washed. But, if something's been pooped in, does washing it, does that help? I don't know. Do people poop in cups? I've never tried to poop in a cup. Anyway, getting off topic here. So this item that I recently purchased was brand new. It is still in the new packaging, and so I thought that there's a very, very small chance that anybody would have kept an item in the original packaging and yet somehow pooped in it. So I feel like this one is okay. This is something that's probably designed for very young and small children to enjoy, which explains why I would own it. This is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, a T-Rex sandwich cutter. So as I show you this on the camera here, what this is a plastic device that is, I'm having a YouTube video, there we go, I can get this to focus on this. It is a plastic device. It's almost like a cookie cutter, and the outside of it is shaped like a piece of bread. So it's square, it has 90-degree angles on three sides, and the top is curved a little bit. And then there's a line in the middle, and it is cut out so that if you were to press this down on a sandwich, you would get two half sandwiches that were roughly shaped like T-Rexes. The back has a few notes on the packaging here. The back says T-Rex sandwich cutter. And then it says, here are the selling points. Number one, no sharp edges, which I guess you can cut bread without a sharp edge. You would just press it down on the bread. Doesn't have to be that sharp. Then it says works for pancakes and as a cookie cutter. So just like what I said, it is kind of like a cookie cutter. I don't know why the camera's having such a hard time focusing on it here, but yeah. So I suppose I think this would make a kind of a rather kind of a large cookie, I suppose. But if you wanted a large dinosaur-shaped cookie, then this would also work. Or dinosaur-shaped pancakes, which I don't believe. I'm trying to run through my mental history. I don't think I've ever had a pancake in any shape other than traditional round or roundish. And then the third thing on here that I will mention is it says cut sandwiches into 2 T-Rex halves. Now, I am not one of these pedantic English majors. I was an English major, I'm just not a pedantic one, who goes around correcting people's grammar. But in school, and especially my associates when I first started going to college, was for journalism. And so you have to learn a lot of rules in journalism when you're writing for a newspaper specifically or a magazine, things that come up. One of those things, for example, may have heard someone say this before, is that you can't have the first annual something. Like you wouldn't have a first annual gathering, because annual means it is something that happens once a year, and this has already happened. Like this would be the second annual, which means it happened before a first time. So you cannot have a first annual something. But people say it. But so I don't run around and try to correct people when they say things like this. But it is something that I do take note of when I see it. Those old rules and stuff jump out at me just because I remember them. And one of the things I remember from journalism school was that it's redundant to say 2 halves, because half, the definition of half is 50% of something. Something has been split into 2 pieces, and each one of those make up 1 half of something. Like you wouldn't have 3 halves. You have 2 halves. So you don't need to say that it makes the sandwich into 2 halves. Not that the back of the packaging is particularly limited in space, that the word 2 takes up that much space or anything. But anyway, just something I noticed. Then there are some instructions down here at the bottom. It says wash with warm soapy water or top rack dishwasher safe. And then there is a Goodwill price tag here of 99 cents, and it says household. So this was over in the household items, and boy, it just does not like to focus on that. But take my word for it, it cost me 99 cents. So why did I buy this? Well, this is kind of an interesting thing. Well, first of all, this is such a cute little thing. I thought, well, that'd be fun to have. But if you follow my adventures in my van, I have a whole side thing that I'm doing called Big Rob's Van, and you can find blog posts on bigrobsvan.com and on YouTube. If you search for Big Rob's Van, you'll find it. And then, of course, it's on lots of other social media sites. But it is a van life channel where I go out and I do adventures in my van, and I go visit things, and I sleep in the van. I'm converting the van into one of those camper-style vans. And on one of my, I'd say, recent episodes, a couple of months ago, I went to a local business, which is located not far from Route 66, and they have a 30-foot brontosaurus outside their building. It's known as Big Jim. It is bright blue. It's covered in Christmas lights, and around Christmas, around the holidays, it has a Santa hat. They, I guess, use a crane or something to get it up there. There's this, and during the video, one of the things I do is I try to eat something food related That is also, I mean, wait, let me rephrase that. I want to eat something that is related to the theme of the show. And so what I had was little dinosaur, those dino bites, which are like chicken nuggets that are shaped like little dinosaurs. And I made some mountains out of mashed potatoes, and I got little mushroom shaped candy, and I made a little thing. And it was a fun thing, right? But there's this thing, I'm sure you're aware of it. There's probably a name for it, and I just don't know what the name of it is. But there's this scientific phenomenon where, for example, you might own a red car. You might buy a red car, and then immediately afterwards, you'll notice all the other red cars on the interstate on your way to work. But you didn't notice it the day before, but it's just like now that you, or maybe it's a specific model of car or same. You know, I remember when I bought my Dodge Neon many years ago, and then the next day I was like, wow, there's a lot of Dodge Neons on the road, but I had never noticed it before I owned one. But then when I bought one, of course, it seemed like every other car was a Dodge Neon. And so what's funny is I probably run across dinosaur stuff all the time and never gave it a second glance, you know what I mean? And then once I did the dinosaur video, now I've been seeing dinosaur stuff everywhere. And so I bought this. And the funny thing is that it's not like, the video's over. Like, I don't need to make dinosaur-shaped sandwiches now. But I bought it anyway. I just saw it. I thought it was cute. And of course, I was hot off of making that video. So that's probably why I bought this. I think as a kid, I would have loved this. I grew up. I started elementary school in the really late '70s and on throughout the '80s, and I think dinosaurs were. I don't know if dinosaurs ever really go out of style, but it seemed like dinosaurs, like there was a big thing at the time, in the late '70s, and then dinosaurs kind of cooled off for a while. And then, of course, Jurassic Park brought dinosaurs back. And I was just at a Big Lots the other day, and I walked down the toy aisle because that's what I do, because I'm a grown man, and I go see what toys are at Big Lots. And they had Jurassic Park toys at Big Lots in 2024. So, dinosaurs, I think now, and probably for a long time, but they're never going to be gone. I mean, not the real ones. The real ones are gone. But I think just kids today, like, I remember when I was a little kid, and they had Happy Meals, and one of the things they had were the little tiny rubber dinosaurs, and you would get it in a Happy Meal and stuff. So, dinosaurs is just something I think will always appeal to kids. I think it's just part of that, part of our imagination, to imagine, what it must have been like at that time. And so I can definitely see how this sandwich cutter would have, an appeal to kids of all ages. And by all ages, I mean little kids up to Rob age. So, anyway, I haven't, as you can see, if you're watching the video, I haven't taken this thing off the packaging yet. It turns out I have not needed a Tyrannosaurus Rex shaped sandwich, but that day could come. I could definitely see having a party. We do a thing with some of my old friends. I've probably talked about, called Nasty Pirates, and we have Nasty Pirate movie night, and we did a dinosaur themed night one time. We watched the classic Velocipaster, which is about a pastor who gets accidentally cut by a relic, a raptor claw, and at night he turns into a dinosaur, and he goes up and cleans up the mean streets of New York City. It was a two movie night. We watched that, and we watched Tammy and the T-Rex, which is a very classic B movie that was what do they call it? It was like an updated to Blu-ray. It had an updated Blu-ray release, and they redid all the video in 4K. And the Vinegar Syndrome is company that did that. It's very, very. It stars Paul Walker, who passed away. You know, the guy from Fast and the Furious, and Denise Richards, who went on to marry not Emilio Estevez, but his brother Charlie Sheen. And it also stars a 30-foot tall animatronic T-Rex. Who Paul Walker's brain gets transplanted into. It's a really dumb movie, but anyway, you know, dinosaurs, like I said, they appeal to people of all ages, including guys like me. So I definitely could see having a movie night like that and making some T-Rex shaped sandwiches or pancakes, for that matter. So. Anyway, I'm going to try to get back to doing at least weekly episodes of Rando Rob. So if you enjoy these, let me know if you're listening to these or watch these, if you're enjoying them. Again, you can find the video version on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/Rob O'Hara and look there's a playlist where I have all the Rando Robs. And I have a podcast feed. I think it's called Robcasts. If you look on Apple Podcasts, that you can find that gets a feed of all of my shows, and you'll get Rando Rob in there. Or you can just go to podcast.robohara.com if you just want to search the list of all the episodes of Rando Rob and maybe just listen to one. So thanks for tuning in for another episode of Rando Rob, and I will see all of you fine people here next week with another random item from my collection. Take care, everybody.